Body shot, oh, that hurt, didn't it?
When adrenaline starts pumping and you know what you can do with this right hand, it's hard to not do that.
Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. Now, a couple programming notes to kind of get us started. Clearly, I am in a different background. You don't see the posters in the back. You don't see the usual setup. That's because we're representing the great state of New York today. You know what I'm saying? We're going East Coast. I'm walking here. You know what time it is, folks. But listen, we're here to recap the action, the madness that was UFC 279. And to be transparent, once again, because of the move, because of the technological issues, we try to make it happen for you guys. Unfortunately, we came up a little bit short, so there was no pre-show. And what are the odds? I mean, let me just bring in my co-host, the Santa Fe Bomber, the New Mexico native himself, AJ, brother. This was the worst timing, my man. This was the worst timing to miss out on the show when you have arguably one of the craziest build-ups to a fight, being UFC 279, crazy press conference, crazy matchup switch. Brother, give me just an initial take off the bat. How you feeling?
Derek, if there was one week that was unfortunate to miss, it was the week where everybody was kung fu fighting in the back, man. Yeah. It was one to say an event for the books, especially with the weight misses, the shifting of the fights, the chaos, the presser cancellation, Li Jingliang walking out in a nice blue piece suit and gets turned around at the gate. It was a rough week for everybody all around, but ended up, in my opinion, honestly being a little bit better than a fight week I was expecting. What do you think?
You know what? I think that you're right. I think that honestly, maybe it was a little bit better for fan entertainment, right? For a couple of the people involved, no, it was not better at all. Kevin Holland, for an example, right? Li Jingliang, for an example. Both of them, they had shots to arguably, I mean, they were the favorites in their fights, to win their fights, to move on, get their checks, all that stuff, and then they both leave with a loss, whether it's controversial or not, and we'll talk about all that in 1 second. Folks, I do just want to kind of repeat one more time, just programming note, right? Things are going to be like this for the next couple of weeks, and then we're going to go back to normal, right? I'll be back in Vegas, back at the home, the hub, the setup, all the good stuff, right? So until then, bear with me. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically all I got for you. So, AJ, brother, let's talk about it, my man. First off, let's take a look down at the scoreboard. Now, you would think that in a tumultuous, I guess that's a good word, in a week like this with so much craziness going on, the scores would have radically shifted because people are taking long shots, and we had literally 24-hour notice bouts. So how do you do film prep for that? You don't. You just, all right, this is what we're going to rock with. 110.63 for me, 109.64 for my man AJ. I remain one pick in the lead, but what that means is we had a wash last week, and let's not waste any more words about it. Let's just talk about it, my man. Look at this. 3-2 a pop. However, AJ, this is just a weird one because we literally had, a lot of different picks, man, and we still kind of ended up right there. So let's give it a little bit of a look. The big one, the main event, Nate Diaz, man, 209. Now, you have been kind of a firm advocate, maybe a fan. You've been loyal to the Diaz lineage over the years, my man, and it finally paid off, even though it hasn't in recent past. How confident were you in Diaz getting the job done over Ferguson when you saw the bout switch?
Against Ferguson, I was pretty confident. In the original lineup against Chimaev, I was already picking for Chimaev. But when he switched over to El Cucuy, even though it's an older El Cucuy, as dangerous as he is, I figured the style was going to make the fight for Diaz, bro. So I was pretty confident going into it. How confident were you in the Ferguson pick?
You know what, man? I wasn't very confident in the Ferguson pick just because I felt like at the end of the day, what are you going to have to do to have the X factor? Maybe wrestle a little bit, and what happens the first shot he takes, he gets a guillotine. So, it was working out. They was boxing. They was doing it. He was picking apart Diaz's leg, but that's how it goes. We'll talk about it more in a second. Khamzat Chimaev over Kevin Holland. That was a pretty easy call right there, right? Now, a little bit of controversy, AJ. I got the upset win. Daniel Rodriguez over the Leech, Li Jingliang. And Li, listen, he took the risk. He fought the dude he didn't need to fight necessarily, right? 24 hours, saved the card, and he walked away with a loss. And we were kind of talking about it a little bit off air, just saying, I can see how they gave it to D-Rod. Now even Uncle Dana said, listen, the Leech, that was his fight. He won the fight. Everybody was a little confused. I can see why D-Rod won the fight, man. But in all honesty, I got to give it to you. You should have had a dub on the board right there. You feel me?
Yeah, that was a rough one, man. Even when Uncle Dana, like you said, he agrees the Leech should have won the fight, at least at the saving grace. You know Uncle Dana's gonna throw him some on the back door, give him a little extra pay. So there's that, but it does hurt for the record we're trying to keep over here, though, brother.
Absolutely, my man. All right, just a couple more. Irene Aldana, she gets the win over Macy Chiasson in what is one of the most most unorthodox victories we've seen in a long time. The most reminiscent to this would be the Nico Price up kick victory, right? And they're calling this an up kick win, but is it an up kick when you use your heel and instead of kicking up, you kick boom straight into that liver? I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Macy Chiasson was probably thinking in her head, if I hold out 2 more minutes, I'm there. Fight is won, da-da-da-da-da, you know what I'm saying? But listen, man, this is kind of how the game works. You gotta expect the unexpected, man, you know? So we'll talk about that more in just 1 second. All right, brother, and I think we just got one more to talk about, and that is Ion Cutelaba versus Johnny Walker. And in another unprecedented event, actually, I was looking at the odds for whatever reason, plus 1,400 submission prop upset win, Johnny Walker over Ion Cutelaba. Size makes a difference, brother, and I think that was the key right here. Listen, Cutelaba, he was in the driver's seat until he got swept. Well, he went for an armbar and then got swept, and then, yeah, it basically was what it was from there, man. So 3-2 on the day for me and for AJ. It is a wash. No prop bets, no over and unders. And once again, folks, if you look at the scoreboard, 110.64 for me, 110.63 for me, 109.64 for my man AJ. So it's still competitive, and that means next week counts more than ever. That means that, listen, it is September, October, November, December, and then the competition is a wrap right there. So this is as close as it's ever been, man. This is actually pretty nuts, man. So without any further ado, one last little note that I need to give to you people, right? Drop a like, subscribe. We appreciate the love, even when there's travel, even when we're here and we're there and we're trying to figure it out, and maybe we can't be as diligent as we want to in terms of the social media marketing and stuff like that. We still know you guys are coming here, the home, the hub for the pick. So we let you down last week. We tried to get it out. We couldn't. Next week, the week after, we got you. We're good, baby. Let's go. All right, AJ, let's head into this main card, my man. Let's get it.
Have you seen that replay, buddy? Your head was bouncing around like a pinball machine.
Time for some main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
209, Nate Diaz. He got the job done, brother, and he actually did it in more or less of a dominant fashion. Now, there's been one weak point in Nate Diaz's game that's been exploited, fight after fight after fight, and it seems like he just does not care enough to address it, and that's checking leg kicks, brother. Tony Ferguson was going to the well, and I was actually thinking for a split second, Tony Ferguson is about to win on a leg kick stoppage right now. He's really going to win. Why? Because Nate Diaz was pulling the good old, what's up, bro? Stop running. I'm chilling. You know, when he turned his back and he, like, put his hand out and he just kind of walked away, I was like, oh, like, is he, so he quit. He's not going to fight anymore. He's done. Like Tony Ferguson should have been like, okay, I win, hands up. But you blew your opportunity. Nate Diaz got a quick little breather and continued to beat the brakes off of him. Brother, what was your thoughts? What was your reaction when you saw that?
Man, the amount of leg kicks that Nate Diaz was taking. I know we've said in the poll before, and Nate Diaz has said it before himself. He doesn't believe in leg kicks. Leg kicks don't hurt, but if you've ever taken one for yourself, you know how bad they do hurt. So Nate Diaz is an actual savage in there. My mind was blown the second I saw him catch a leg kick, stop, turn around, put his hands on the ring, and like say, no, just give me a second. I was like, oh shit, he's done. He's calling it, and he looked the right leg or the left leg, I forget which one it was, the lead leg of Nate Diaz looked a little stiff, a little not as bouncy as he normally had it. So for sure, I was a little worried, man. When those leg kicks were coming down, I thought this is going to be Tony Ferguson's strategy for the next 4 rounds. He's just going to keep spamming them up left and right all day long. Crazy that his corner told him to take a shot 4th round, but either way, man, it's a crazy thing to see Nate Diaz not acknowledge that leg kicks hurt, even though his body's like saying yeah, but his mind, he's like, oh no, he's pulling an R. Kelly. You know, his body's saying no, but he's over there just willingly accepting leg kicks. It's wild.
Only the great AJ is coming up with the R. Kelly, you know, metaphor is mid-show, right? No, I love it, man. So, listen, I absolutely agree with you. It is astounding that he's walking through it, but I also think there's a little bit of strategy there. If you notice, Tony Ferguson's shin was bloodied up from the very get-go of the fight, right? I think Nate Diaz was actually very effectively checking a lot of those kicks. Even though Ferguson was getting through on a lot, if you've ever had your kick, a full-blown, full-blast kick checked, it's not fun and you don't want to do it again. So, to be that mentally tough on both ends, both of these dudes were legit. However, AJ, even though this was the 24-hour mix-up, we finally got to see these two fight. I think it's very clear. Tony Ferguson, El Cucuy, our man, bro. We love him. 12-fight win streak, knocking everybody out, submitting everybody, madman, wild man. Brother, Father Time catches up to all of us, and he just seemed a step behind the whole fight. He was just a step behind, right? Speed wasn't quite there. Reaction time wasn't quite there. Overextended time after time after time after time. Kept trying to do crazy elbows and all that good stuff, which, it's the madness of Tony Ferguson. It just doesn't seem like it's working anymore, man. And this was your prime opportunity. You have a Nate Diaz who wants to box. Yes, they're both unorthodox, but let's be honest, man. Nate Diaz isn't the fastest guy in the world these days either. Doesn't have the most pop on his shot. I don't want to write the eulogy for Tony Ferguson, my man. I don't want to do that, but I want to ask your opinion right here. From what you saw, is now the time? Because he might insist on continuing to fight, but is now the time to say, let's take a step back? What do you think?
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes I feel like El Cucuy is living in yesterland, where he's, always bringing up, I was a varsity this, I was doing all that, like all that, and all of that's great. And it does prove that this guy is a world-class athlete. But unfortunately, at the time, I don't think he's world-class fighter ready. Do I think it's the end of Tony Ferguson? No, I think he can still be pulling off, trying to take out and whittle down some of these young bucks that are coming into the game, and he might become that perennial gatekeeper that we're always talking about. But as far as the elite of the top of the card, I think this might be the last time we see Tony Ferguson's name on the banner, unfortunately. What about you, Derick?
Well, I absolutely agree with you, man. I think this is pretty much the signal. This is the end right here. But what a glorious way to go out, man. You actually get to headline a card, right? You were the co-main. You get to or were you even the co-main? He was either the co-main or one before that. But you get to headline the card, right? You get a payday against the Nate Diaz. Everything got restructured very quickly. Took a miracle to make it happen. But the point is, this is the good way to go out, man. Go out while you have an opportunity to go out on your terms versus keep fighting in the UFC, man, and Uncle Dana is going to start giving you the Shavkat Rakhmanovs. You want to stick around at welterweight, right? They're going to have their young guns make a name off of you, and that's just basically how it goes right there. Last thing, we just have to touch on this, man. How glorious of a narrative have we just stumbled upon with Nate Diaz? He was not supposed to go out this way. The UFC was literally setting up a framework so this man could get demolished by Chimaev and have no value when he exits the promotion. Now, his value is higher than ever because not only does he submit El Cucuy and kind of beat him up for 4 rounds, he does the OG Nate Diaz one celebration that he's absolutely known for. AJ, you guillotine somebody, it's locked in, and then you start flexing, right? It's not as bad as when he had the triangle in and then he did the both arms. Fuck you, motherfucker. No, it wasn't that bad. But you guillotined the man, and then you said, come here. I won the fight, and then he's over here tapping for dear life. Brother, Nate Diaz is stuck. I'm sorry, but I think it's higher than it's ever been. This is like Conor McGregor-esque levels. We just needed I'm not surprised, motherfucker. You tell me, what's the next step for Nate Diaz? He's out the UFC. He's starting his own promotion. Are we seeing him fight again? What are we thinking?
Yes, and I think we're going to see him in either boxing. He's talking about something else. He's talking about he's going to be a professional in another sport. He's going to be the top of the top at another sport. I think he's going to be boxing. I don't know another sport he might be out there doing unless it's like the world-class triathlon or a ping pong player or something like crazy like that. We might be seeing him box up, though, man. What do you think? We're going to see Nate Diaz versus Canelo?
I think this is it. There's only one option here because you need to go into promoting, right? That's this whole thing. Real Fighters Incorporated or whatever. You fight Jake Paul, you get a bag, and then you call it quits, and then you just smoke weed and do triathlons for the rest of your life. Easy. I'm your promoter. I got you. Done. You know what I'm saying? However, you go and try to fight some legit All right, we don't need to go down that route, man. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of. We don't need to go down that route. The point is he goes out in glory right here. This is the most glorious outcome to a historic career that I can imagine, honestly, in a situation like this. Trust me, I do not think that his rival, Conor McGregor, I don't think he will be going out of the game as glorious as Nate Diaz just did, which is just, like I said, a crazy turn of events, man. So that was your main event. It was just incredible, man. I will say this narrative, this storyline, this is a beautiful outcome for the crazy madness that occurred, 48 hours ago. So beautiful main event right there. But let's talk about this one, my man, because we're seeing a dude who went from beloved to a heel in the matter of a couple of months, man. It was kind of crazy. Khamzat Chimaev, he absolutely ragdolled, steamrolled Kevin Holland. It wasn't close, right? Faked the glove touch, right? Fake glove touch, shot in. Couple scrambles, next thing you know, you choke him out. And, listen, beautiful Darce choke for the win. You got to love that, right? But AJ, man, this dude does the unprecedented, right? He basically gets a big press conference that people they're free to the public, right? So it's not like you're paying a bunch of money, but people already came down, they're in their seats, they're ready. Press conference canceled because Khamzat and Kevin Holland kind of get into it, at the T-Mobile. And then you come in, miss weight by 10 pounds, right? And then you just say, I don't give a fuck about you or anybody. I'm here to kill anybody. Whoever you put in front of me, I will destroy. That's great. That's awesome. But, Uncle Dana says, if you were to do this to me on a title fight, bro, like, I don't think he understands that aspect of it. Like, Dana White could now be looking at him in a completely different light. Even though he's putting asses in seats, he could be one of those guys where, let me get him the belt and let me Tyron Woodley him and try to get somebody to take that shit away from him immediately. So what do you think about this whole thing, man? Did he help his cause? Because all marketing is good marketing, more or less, right? Did he help his cause, or is this a bad look? What do you think?
Ooh, as a publicity stunt, I could see where it would help, but man, in the eyes of Uncle Dana, excuse me, what worried me right away was when they were talking about it in the post-fight press conference. Uncle Dana had a very big smirk when he was saying, yeah, he'll fight at 170 or 185, and then just started smiling, and I was like, okay, so at least, Uncle Dana feels like he's going to give this guy maybe one more chance. You miss weight again, you were relegated to 185, no more, fool me once, shame on you. So I definitely think this was one of the fights that did help, did the entire shenanigans of the entire week, the press conference, the fight in the back, all that stuff help out Chimaev's cause. Yeah, probably. Unfortunately, there was a big thing that Bryce Mitchell, I saw him going off about it, how he feels like some people are spoon-fed, some people, they are given all the glory and the grace from Uncle Dana and the brass at the UFC, and then they go and do stuff like this. And unfortunately for people who don't do this, it makes the other guy's stock rise, and people either like him or like to hate him even more. And either way, you get more eyes to the fight. We're going to see a lot more of Chimaev, I think. My big question is, with this kind of tenacity and fighting style, who's going to stop this guy? You think it's Covington? You think it's up one of the upper echelons? Or are we going to see a steamroll the entire time?
I'm going to be honest, man. I think a high-level wrestler, you get in front of a really high-level wrestler, I think Chimaev is going to have some problems. Because one thing that you will have noticed during the fight is that Holland was doing a great job of standing his own. Like, if you really look at some of the other fighters, they're getting ragdolled immediately. You know what I mean? Like, once Chimaev gets his hands on you, it's kind of game over. But if you're a good wrestler with good wrestling defense, right, takedown defense, and you can make Khamzat blow his load proverbially in the first couple of rounds and then get it into the deeper rounds, I think that's when people are going to start having success, man, to be completely honest with you. They're even saying that Chimaev is using a lot of energy. He's just kind of trying to overwhelm you. And that's the problem. When a dude who tries to overwhelm people and that's all he has, I'm not saying that's all he has, but when that's basically all he has is that first initial boom, bullies don't like to get bullied. So what happens when you start putting them on the back foot, right? And that's when I think you're going to start to see those holes open up and the defense is exploited a little bit. Let's be honest, AJ. Chimaev was supposed to win this fight. Kevin Holland was never supposed to win this fight. He took the fight because he's a good sport, because he was trying to show up for the real G's. But let me ask you this. Obviously, Kevin Holland is going to have a favor returned via the company by doing this, right? But what does this win by Chimaev tell us? This doesn't really tell us anything, to be honest, right? This is not a matchup that was favorable for Kevin Holland whatsoever. So I feel like this is a wash in the book. This doesn't really propel him to any new heights. What do you think?
Yeah, I know. I think the Gilbert Burns win that Chimaev had before was a bigger win than this win, unfortunately. I think this was honestly just Uncle Dana doing something he likes for a fighter that he likes in Chimaev, giving him a Nate Diaz fight that was going to make him a whole lot of money, get a whole lot of eyes on him to really set him up for the next one. You come in, you backstab the boss, and you miss weight. I think this is a wash. I don't think this does much, especially because a lot of the what was the betting line? Do you even have the betting line numbers? Because I imagine Chimaev was a massive favorite going into this. So I highly doubt anybody actually thought Kevin Holland was going to win this fight.
I don't remember what Chimaev's line was, but Kevin Holland was around plus 400. Yeah. So that's, I mean, come on, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, wash for Chimaev. Listen, you got to make somebody feel something, right? That's Uncle Chael's whole entire thing. Make the fans feel something. I don't care if they love you. I don't care if they hate you. But the thing is, they will tune in to watch you. So at the end of the day, he is the bona fide pay-per-view star. We just got to see how the numbers did. Obviously, the beef is definitely going to bump those up a little bit. We just got to see the numbers overall. Big win by Khamzat Chimaev, man. But I'm just really interested to see how he does against an elite grappler. Now, that's what we need to see. Now, all right, we'll rattle off a couple of ones, man. Listen, Li Jingliang, he took a risk. He fought D-Rod, and this was a chess match, man. This was a very technical fight. I felt like these fighters were very even on the fighting plane. The Leech, this was the big thing. Okay, Age, I'm going to be honest with you. This was the big thing. This fight gets announced, right? 24 hours. I say, okay, I was picking the Leech to beat Ferguson, but, now let me go switch D-Rod. I'm going to pick D-Rod over Jingliang. The reason why is because D-Rod was preparing for a 180-pound catchweight fight. Jingliang weighed in at 170 pounds. So I was like, okay, D-Rod got an extra 10 pounds on him, right? So he's already going to be bigger. He should have more pop in his shot. Leach should be a little faster, all that. Well, boy, was I wrong. AJ, the Leach was faster. He was stronger. He was more explosive. He was more powerful. D-Rod was just more technical. He just had better footwork. He just had a more pop-in jab. And Teddy Atlas, the great boxing world-renowned Teddy Atlas, says in a non-barn burner fight, when it is very close, the person who is jabbing is generally the person who wins. Guess what? D-Rod jabbed Jingliang face off all day. AJ, controversy. Let's talk about it, my man. 1 to 10. How big of a robbery do you see this, or do you see this as just being more or less of a close fight?
I do see this as a robbery, but unfortunately, 1 to 10 on the robbery scale, man, I'm saying this is like a 5, maybe a 6 amount of a robbery, not an outright. This is, we're gonna burn the barn down. We're freaking out. We're tossing tables in the back. This is more of a I think Li Jingliang should have won this fight. But I can see why D-Rod did. We were talking about when the mics are cold. I was saying, I can, with D-Rod being on the front foot the entire time, like you're saying that Teddy Atlas was saying, leading that jab. I think they were saying something like he landed like 50 jabs just on Li Jingliang alone. The crazy thing, Li had good head movement in the third, man. The whole time he was ducking and dodging those jabs, even though they were still connecting every now and then. But that just goes to testament on how many D-Rod was actually throwing, because 140 shots just to the head. I'd probably say 100 of those were jabs, just because he was out there pumping it the entire time. Man, like I said, not the worst robbery ever, but I do think Jingliang won this fight, unfortunately. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that like at the end of the day, when they were reading the judges' scorecards, and I was like, okay, I lost. In my betting tallies, I was like, okay, I lost that one, man. The Leach got it done. Goddamn, and I should have known. And when Daniel Rodriguez, when he got his hand raised, he did a little bit of like a, all right, good shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I won. But it wasn't like yeah, that's right. Like I won. It was more of like, oh, all right, cool. I thought they were going to, maybe in his head, he was like, oh, I thought they were going to rob me, but they gave me okay, all right on. I won the fight. Boom. This is actually monstrous for Daniel Rodriguez's stock, to be honest with you, man. This is the biggest win of his career, arguably, because his biggest win prior was his last win, Kevin Lee. And we kind of see how that aged. Not fantastic, right? The question now becomes, because if you look at the rankings, look at the numbers, right? I think maybe these could be backwards. Maybe the Leach is 11 and Daniel Rodriguez is 14. Either way, it doesn't really matter. The whole entire point is D-Rod is going to get a substantial bump in the welterweight division. Now, even though D-Rod didn't get a win at welterweight, does this still count in the welterweight rankings to you?
Yeah, kind of, not really. I mean, because technically they're both welterweight fighters, so it makes sense. And honestly, these guys are probably fighting at the same weight they'd have been fighting at in the night, if they made weight. Well, Jingliang didn't make weight anyway, so I think it counts. But I don't know, not the most impactful. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see why it counts, but I'm not like saying D-Rod's gonna have like an 8 slot jump. We're gonna see this dude in the top 5 or something like that. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I just think it's like a case of like two bantamweight fighters fighting at 145 just because like they couldn't make weight on short notice. So boom, so it's still like counts, but not really. Here's the big question here, AJ. Watching D-Rod style, we got to see him against more of an upper echelon opponent, right? Can he have success in the top 10 of the division with this fighting style? What do you think?
Man, boxing only, very little leg kicks. I mean, he did target the body 17 times, he landed 17 of 22 targets. I don't know, man. I mean, you go against a really high-level grappler or a really high-level kickboxer, somebody who's keeping you away and out-jabbing you, or every time you throw one, they slip under, cut an angle, get to your hips. I don't know, man. I think D-Rod is going to have to be more of a well-rounded fighter in order to really start getting into those top 5, top 10 fighters we're going to be seeing in the welterweight division. Especially on a weight cut too, man, because he did look like he sucked down a lot more, but like we said, short notice, so you can't really hold that against him. But with a couple fighters up there who are very, very talented and very well rounded, I see him having a little bit more trouble. Are you seeing the same thing I am, or do you think he can do very, very well in the top?
I think D-Rod's going to be a perennial top 10 guy. But until you kind of mix it up a little bit more, it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough because there's no takedown threat, right? You don't got the real kickboxing threat. It really is a lot of hands, man. And a lot of these dudes might be able to outgun him a little bit. So, especially because, like I said, the Leech just seemed to step ahead, man. So I don't know. But that was a good win by Daniel Rodriguez. And clearly the Leech is going to bounce back. You know Dana's going to probably do him a couple of favors because, listen, man, this was one of the most unfortunate weeks for a dude who basically saved the card. You know what I'm saying? So big win by D-Rod. All right. AJ, my man, this is literally I want to just fast forward to the end and talk about the finish, right? But we got to talk about the actual fight. Irene Aldana versus Macy Chiasson. The one thing that is important here, Macy Chiasson, bro, she's fought at 145 before. She's big, she's large, and size matters. You know, size does matter. You know, Irene Aldana is clearly the better striker. Clearly. Chiasson, though, was not looking too shabby herself, man. That jab, that right hand just kind of popping out, the unorthodox big overhand, like, you know what I mean, shots she was taking, they were effective. However, the grappling was the difference. Now, I thought Chiasson was clearly going to be a head and arm above Aldana. But Aldana seemed like it was interesting because both of them are jiu-jitsu practitioners, right? Chiasson is a brown belt. I think Aldana might be like a purple belt or something like that. This is what was interesting, AJ. I felt like Aldana's jiu-jitsu was a little more slick, but Chiasson definitely had the control of a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is you'll see some of these older, and I'm not saying like this is indicative of her, but you'll see some of these older brown belts not in the best shape, but when they get on you, their control is so phenomenal because all of the muscle memory built up in all the years. I mean, to get your brown belt, next thing is black, right? That's going to take you at least over 5, 6, 7, 8 years, right? That's the kind of the crazy part, man. With her size, she was able to do some pretty nasty things to Aldana. But, AJ, first round, some say Aldana won the fight twice. Some say Aldana was tearing that arm up at Chiasson and she hit her with a little tap, you know what I'm saying? But that's how you know you're a real champion, a real warrior, is you say, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, she tapped, I'm gonna go beat her again. And even though she was 2 minutes away from losing a decision, in all honesty, 2 minutes away from losing a decision, you're proactive. It's better to be proactive than to be reactive. So what does she do? She goes for a little up kick and brings that heel down onto the liver and boom, everyone is looking, what just happened? Did Chiasson break her leg? Even, I think it was Jason Herzog who was the referee, and it's someone, but he came up, he was like, Macy, what hurts? What's going on? Like, he's like, I don't even know what hurts. And then I think she said her rib or something like that. They checked the replay, boom, straight to the liver. Beautiful, phenomenal. What did you think, my man? We haven't seen anything like this in UFC history before. But the question is this one the most devastating loss of Macy Chiasson's career in a fight that she was basically winning? Or do you think that this is karmic revenge because she probably should have lost earlier in the fight? What do you think?
This is a little bit of cosmic justice, Derick, because I definitely, even though I was going for Chiasson the whole time, when Chiasson was getting her arm basically yanked into oblivion, I saw a little bit of a Brazilian tap right there, man. I saw somebody touch a little bit of skin that it didn't look like a defensive maneuver. It looked like, oh shit, this hurts kind of a thing. So I think the grounded axe kick that they're calling an up kick from Aldana was just one of those ones where the fight gods, planets aligned, and it was like, oh yeah, remember when you won earlier? Bow, here's a liver shot that can't be denied. And yeah, it was Jason Hurd as I walked over. That was the best thing when he walked over. He was like, what hurts? I'm a little confused. Oh, your liver. Oh, okay. Oh, she kicked you in the liver? Word. All right, yeah, that makes sense. Because she went down like a bag of potatoes, man. Literally like a sack of bricks, whatever the saying is. When you get touched on that liver, man, it was crazy to see because Chiasson, like you said, in about 2 minutes away from winning a decision. That's the crazy thing, man. She was probably coasting, living sky high, thinking it's like, maybe not coasting, but like living sky high, thinking, oh, this is my fight. I'm gonna be raining down these shots. I'm throwing these eggs around. Oh shit. Man, crazy fight. And like I said, probably a little cosmic justice for that ghost tap that we saw in there.
But hey, she looked good though, right? I mean, she looked phenomenal. To be honest here, Chiasson, this is one of her best performances of her career, in my opinion, especially against an opponent like Aldana, who I feel like a lot of people are writing off. I have no idea why, because when I saw this matchup, I was like, okay, I know Chiasson's past the victory, but if Aldana does what Aldana does, she should be a shoo-in for the win right here. She got the job done, but I'll just say, man, I mean, MMA gods almost had other plans. We'll just say that. Big win. Irene Aldana right there. Now, AJ, my man, last fight, or I guess I should say the first fight on the main card. This was Johnny Walker versus Ion Cutelaba. And Johnny Walker, my man, coming off the Jamal Hill knockout loss, you know, he's trying to reinvigorate himself. He says he stopped smoking CBD because it ruined his life because he get too high off of CBD. Everyone reacts differently, so you can't hate, right? Ion Cutelaba, this is a dude who's just desperately searching for a win right here, man. A dude who really needed to get into that win column, and he had the right strategy to do so. The big thing here, man, Johnny Walker is an enormous, just a gigantic person. He's just a large individual. And Cutelaba, did you notice a little different energy in the fight week, right? He's just kind of chilling, just like, okay, what's up? You know, maybe because of the pre-fight antics. Normally he's screaming, right? Johnny Walker too. I think when you see a big boy in front of you like that, you gotta pause a little bit, you know what I mean? AJ, after Cutelaba secured the first takedown and had Johnny Walker off of his back, what were your initial thoughts?
Wow, man. Worried. But like Johnny Walker is good on his back, man. So that's the thing. Although when Cutelaba actually landed, I thought, oh shit, this Moldova is just gonna go absolute Hulk mode like he normally does and just smash spot all day on Johnny Walker. And then we saw Walker start working some things, man. Walker started bringing tools out of the tool belt and working stuff. Once I saw Johnny Walker secure the triangle or the body lock on Cutelaba, I was like, oh, okay, he's actually finally working now. The nerves are gone. The head is finally cleared up a little bit. He's seeing the moves happen now. That's when I started getting a little more secured in my pick. But until then, man, on the first minute and a half, however long it was, I thought Cutelaba was like, oh shit, Cutelaba's got this in the bag, man. He's gonna go Hulk mode. He's gonna control this fight until it's over. Man, very good fight, but it is rough for Cutelaba because this is like you said, this is one where he's hunting for a win, man. He really, really needs a win, and honestly, I kind of think they were giving him a rather not an easy opponent, not a layup by any means in Johnny Walker, but an opponent when a lot of people thought Cutelaba could win this fight because I was back and forth on this pick as well, and I'm pretty sure Cutelaba was the favorite, if I'm not mistaken. But man, yeah, for those first couple minutes, I was a little shook, you could say the least. Derek, what about you?
I mean, well, obviously, I picked for Cutelaba, so I was like, oh, game plan is working, incredible. The only problem was the man jumps for a crazy Hail Mary armbar, and I know from experience, man, when you find yourself in that spot against a big guy and you go, that's you either got it or you're saying, I got to go for something right now. So I want to know what he saw in the moment to say, I got to jump this armbar. Because worst case scenario, which is the most common scenario, when you go for a failed armbar, you're on your back and you have a big guy on top of you. And generally you say, I don't want to be here. Cutelaba is a great grappler, but we like him on top, not on his back, right? You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, man, it was just a weird fight IQ moment. That was the thing that really was the catalyst to end the fight right there. Johnny Walker just took complete control. And even if he didn't submit him, you get a big guy like that on your back and starts raining down shots. I mean, the beginning of the end right there. So this was a fantastic win for Johnny Walker. Third submission win of his career. Like I said, this is crazy odds, plus 1,400 on the prop. But here's the beautiful thing. Johnny Walker back in the win column. Maybe this is the turnaround that he needed. Maybe a kind of a layup-ish opponent, right? And then now you kind of move on and say, all right, at least I wasn't fighting a dude who's literally about to just like one shot starch me like Jamal Hill in the last fight, maybe. But AJ, my man, that was the main card. So, okay, final verdict right here, man. 1 to 10. How do you rate this card? Was this worth the $80 that most people paid for to watch the pay-per-view?
No, unfortunately not. But was it more worth than the original card that was there? Yeah. So I'm giving this one, man. I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10.
7? Okay.
1 to 10. I'm giving this a 7. What about you?
You know what, man? I think the Aldana Chiasson, Ferguson Diaz fight, those are kind of the only fights that really made me be like, I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'll give this like a 6. You know what I mean? Listen, go to the sports bar, go get your little $5 cover, and enjoy with some good food and some good drinks, man. That is your main card coverage right there, folks. And I do want to hop into a couple of prelim fights because there were some very, very good prelim fights, man. One dude we need to talk about for sure, Jailton Almeida, bro. This dude is a monster, man. 220-pound catch weight, and I feel bad because the dude, Antoine Turcali, right? Fresh off a Contender Series victory that was very, very boring. It was a grappling, affair. So maybe they throw him in there because they're like, well, you want to be a grappler? We'll show you what a grappler is like. Jailton Almeida's jiu-jitsu is top notch. This dude is an athletic specimen. However, AJ, I only have one concern because there's nothing else but praise. He smashed his opponent. He dominated him. It took him a little longer than normal to get Turcali out of there, but he dominated him. This is my one point of concern. It's very Chimaev-esque. What happens when you get pushed into those deep rounds when you're going full blast on those takedowns? Do you see any cause for concern, or are you just fully impressed?
No, I do. I definitely see cause for concern, especially because if this wasn't against a fighter who legitimate first fight, not in the Contender Series. This is the big show for Turkalj. It's a little concerning for Almeida when you just dump your entire gas tank, and the next thing you know, you look up at the clock and you're like, oh shit, I got 12 minutes left to fight this dude. I got 2 more rounds plus 2 minutes left in this fight. Oh shit. That's one of the more concerning things, but Almeida handled himself well. I'm interested to see who they line this young kid up next against, because I'm guaranteed the matchmakers are seeing the exact same thing where they're like, yeah, we don't want another just full out go, and then you gas out and we see a not Muhammad Usman, who's the Herbert Burns. We see another Herbert Burns where you just dump your entire gas tank and then you're up in the next couple of rounds. You're like, I don't even want to fight, man. I don't want to be here. Like, holy shit, this sucks. But I don't know if that'll necessarily be the same case for Almeida, though.
Yeah, no, we'll see, man. Turkalj is no slouch, you know what I'm saying? He just isn't the level of competition you should probably be seeing him up against right now. Either way, man, another fun fight, man. This one was an interesting one. Hakeem Dawodu, he comes in, he misses weight. It's kind of something like forgotten. People kind of swept it under the rug, right? But he missed weight. I wonder what was going on. You fight Juicy J Rosa. And Juicy J is a dude who you can never underestimate. This is a dude who oftentimes fights to the level of his competition, right? So either he'll rise to the occasion or he'll lose a layup that you're like, damn, how did you lose this fight, man? This is a Rosa, right? However, man, this was a good back and forth fight. Bro, Hakeem Dawodu, he ate a knee from Erosa that knocked Nate Landwehr out clean, knocked him out cold, man, flatlined him just a couple of fights ago. He ate that, was able to survive it, and Erosa had to go on to a decision victory. But there was a couple times right there where I was like, Hakeem Dawodu is about to get knocked out right here. It seemed to, okay, these are the two options here, and I want you to tell me because I want your opinion. I want to assume for anybody. Was this an off night for Hakeem Dawodu? Maybe there was an injury, maybe there was a reason why he couldn't make weight, right? Was this an off night for Dawodu, or was this Erosa just being fully locked in, fully on, and maybe Erosa walked into a couple of off nights in his last couple of fights? What do you think?
I think this was an off night for Hakeem Dawodu, and as much as I agree with you, Erosa does fight to the level of his opposition. He didn't necessarily fight as down as Hakeem Dawodu did. I think Julian Erosa was just a little bit better. So as much as Erosa was on, I do think the Hakeem Dawodu, just whether it was something weird from the weight cut, whether there was an injury that was preventing him from actually doing, or maybe even just mentally him knowing that he got beat by the scale and there was something that he left in the tank, whether that was the whole case of him, kind of not really underperforming. I was a little worried there too, man. I thought Hakeem was going to sleep, and even on the decisions, man, all of them 30-27 for Rosa. Even it's very rare. We were talking about it last week when I was saying it seems like the judges are forced to at least give one round to the other guy a lot of the times. This wasn't the case, man. Everybody saw it for Rosa, even the judges, man. So I do think it was a interesting night for Hakeem, or an off night for Hakeem, and an interesting night for Rosa, if you will.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely with you right there, man. When it comes down to it, I mean, it's whoever performs on that night, right? And Juicy J, he was just locked in. So whatever happens prior to that, you accepted the fight, you signed the contract, you got to go and fight, man. And speaking of that, Chris Barnett, you want to talk about miraculous comebacks, actually, right? This dude, the hire, Jake Collier, is putting it on him. And I'm like, Jake Collier, bro, if you run through Chris Barnett, you're a real problem. Excuse me. So they're going back and forth, right? Barnett, it looks like his jaw might get broken, right? He's cut up. He's bleeding. He's all over the place. He's a heavyweight, so he's like, oh, he's breathing hard. Second round comes around. He stuck around, right? He was able to survive. He comes back. And, bro, who would have thought? The thing that plagues Jake Collier in this fight was he shoots for a takedown when he was beating up Barnett the whole time. Shoots for a takedown, fails. Barnett, quick as hell, circles out to that back, right? Starts beating on him, gets the finish right there. Chris Barnett is the gem, right? He's an entertainer. He is a showman. He is literally like one of the favorite people you should be watching in the UFC. For a big boy who's a great Taekwondo practitioner, come on. But AJ, my man, performances like this, it's entertaining, man. This is not what you want. I don't want to go on an emotional roller coaster watching you as a fighter. So you tell me, what is Chris Barnett's ceiling in the heavyweight division right here? Is he just that showman, that fun guy? Because honestly, this fight takes place 10 times. I think Jake Collier wins like 8 of those 10 times. So what do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say like 6-7 times at least, at the very least. Collier wins those fights. Man, Chris Barnett, what is his ceiling? it's interesting because as much as he is a showman and he's fast and he's one of those a bigger heavyweight who fights kind of like a hybrid heavyweight and missing weight, which is kind of another issue as well, man. One of the two other heavyweights to ever miss weight. I forget if it's him and another or just him and two more. I forget. But either way, where's Chris Barnett's ceiling, man? I'm thinking that 10 to 15 realm, somewhere in there. I don't really see him fighting a Curtis Razor Blades or anywhere of that echelon and above, if you will, because I think somebody that's wrestling heavy or even kind of if he fights Bam Bam Tuivasa, I think Bam Bam gets the best of him as well in one of those crazy exchanges because he'll just put you right to sleep. It's a hard road for Chris Barnett, especially when you are that very much the entertainer, that flashy striker, that big boy that's doing all this stuff. When people see that stuff coming, you fight a Cyril Gane, he sees that coming from left field, he just moves right out of the way, and then he's still there bouncing in your face. So you're sitting there huffing and puffing. I think it's going to be a hard one for Chris Barnett, man. That's why I'm saying the 10 to 15 realm. What do you see him as a ceiling?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'd be a little surprised even if he kind of stuck around in that range, but I do think it is safe to say that Chris Barnett is going to be a bona fide, just kind of that. You need those people, right? The heavyweight division is very shallow, so he will be the fun fight. He will potentially be the money fight. But in terms of like contending for a championship, I'm just not sure. I'm not going to say no. I'm just not sure if all of the tools are there. The stature as well is a little concerning, especially without the wrestling pedigree. But, man, aside from that, listen, there's a couple more good wins, right? Norma Dumont got on the board against Danielle Wolf. I'm not going to lie, little lackluster of a victory for Norma Dumont, but she just contends that a win is a win is a win, and she's just racking up the win, so easy money. Alatang Haley, he got on the board, Elise Reed on the board, and Johan Linesi got on the board, even though a lot of people were screaming robbery for that one. A lot of people thought Darian Weeks won that fight. So, AJ, man, this was a overall good card. We don't need to get into the nitty-gritty about some of those other prelim fights, but I think this is really the big key. In terms of a ranking review, brother, you know what I mean? We're going to do a very quick one right here. We don't even need to necessarily pull up the rankings because this is more of a thought experiment. Who do they need to put Khamzat Chimaev in front of before he fights for a championship, man? I think it's plain. This is clear. This was the Khamzat show. This entire show. This was not the Nate Diaz show, even though this was a great storyline, great way to go out. This was about Chimaev. If Chimaev was not on this card, I guarantee you the numbers would not have been nearly as good as whatever they're going to come out as. But the question now becomes, who do you put in front of him? You know what I mean? He never really got the fight that he wanted in Nate Diaz. And honestly, that fight wouldn't have really mattered anyways. But it's like, do you put a Colby Covington in front of him? Do you put you can't put Kamaru Usman because he's about to fight, Leon Edwards, right? So, but that's the other thing, too. If Uncle Dana says, no, you're going up to middleweight, who do you put in front of him, bro? Do you give him a Jared Cannonier? Do you throw him straight to the winner of Izzy Paeta? Like, what happens with Boers? Because this is the entire storyline. This is the entire question.
Yeah, man, it's a hard one because let's say you just keep him in the welterweight round, or the realm, excuse me. Keep him at 170. He's already beat Gilbert Burns. Bully B's got a fight coming up. I think it's Colby Covington. I think that's the fight to make Colby Covington. Now, is that too good of a wrestler? Because if we saw what Gilbert Burns can do and he can hold Chimaev off and he cannot, fall into victim of what the whole Chimaev show is, I think Colby Covington handles that swimmingly. I think he's going there no problems at all. Now, does Chimaev catch him on something crazy like that? I don't think so, but it could happen. You never know. That is the fight game. But really, other than Colby Covington or Kamaru Usman, Rocky Edwards, whoever, after their shakeup, then you get him after that. I don't really see another name, man, because it's Stephen Thompson, Bully B, Gilbert Burns, who's already beat. Other than that, those are below the top five. Who do you see, if not Colby Covington?
That's kind of why that's the first name that I rattled off right there. I said Colby Covington just simply because it's like, how many? Is this what we're doing? Are we saying tune up? No, he's still not ready. He's setting a tune up. Nah, at a certain point, you just say, listen, give him the shot. Give the man the shot. Either they're trying to milk the cow for as much as they got and get and pause, right? But they're trying to milk the cow, get the value out, say, let me bring as much cash as I could possibly get. Or you're sitting here and you're just simply saying, I don't think he's ready, or he pissed me off with all of this weight, debacle, and now we don't want to give him the shot. Maybe with this spectacular win, we would have just gave him the shot, but now it's too late. So I don't know, man, but I think this is simply the biggest question. Is Chimaev, honestly, AJ, just give honest, straight, raw opinion, don't even think about it, raw opinion, is he literally the next bona fide star in the UFC? Because it seems like that's the case. It feels like heel or hero, you're the star. You're the guy that everybody wants to see.
Heel or hero, people are sitting in those seats to pay to watch it either way. Do I think he's the next for sure bona fide star? I think the UFC is trying to make him that, and maybe they're trying to make him that to kind of fill the gap that Khabib has left behind with like that region of the world viewers. But I don't really think naturally he's there, if that makes sense. I feel like it's a narrative that's being pushed by the UFC more so than Khamzat is the bona fide red panty knight Conor McGregor that just made himself a star, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I'm just going to leave this out there. And this is because this is something that concerned me and maybe a reason why they might not push him the way that he should be pushed. You notice he has a very common theme after every fight. These are kind of the 2-3 things that he says. He says, I kill everybody. I don't care. This is Chechnya. That's it. It was like he said every fight. It's the same thing, right? So it's like, I love it. It's a constant message, right? It's very consistent. But I think some people are going to be like, if this was a good old homegrown American hero, they might be able to get behind him a little bit more. But when you're saying this is Chechnya, I'm going to kill everybody, I think they're just like, yo, all right, hold on, back up a couple. You know what I'm saying? But listen, we'll see where he goes in the rankings right here. It's harder to go higher than he is right now. He's like 3 at welterweight. We'll see what happens in middleweight. But that's your rankings review right there, folks. And with that being said, that is basically the whole entire show. We got to the outro. This was a condensed show, people. You know what I mean? We had to get one on the board, recap the craziness that was. And next week, we're getting back to kind of normal program, right? Normal function. I will still be in a modified location and all that stuff, but that's neither here nor there. I might be walking up with a New York Yankee hat and some Timbs on. Might have to show you. No, I'm just joking, man. I love to make some good old jokes about the East Coast. But AJ, my man, next week, let's actually look it up, man, because I am incredibly unprepared and I'm being incredibly transparent about it. Next week, we have, we have Corey Sandhagen versus Song Yadong. That's going to be a fun. I'm already going to let you know right now, it's going to be tough for picking, that main event, man. That is going to be a tough one right here. And I'll just note this because I actually meant to say this in the beginning of the show, AJ. This whole entire UFC 279, especially with the short notice switch-ups, this was a stay away from me betting-wise. This was just a don't even touch it because anything can happen here. There are no locks. That Nate Diaz one I'm a little surprised by. But, for that card, were you kind of in the same stay away mode or were you testing your luck? Were you testing fate?
The only fight I would have put money on was the Khamzat Chimaev fight.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the only one, man. Other than that, it was a stay away.
Of course, man. But just know, we have a couple of good fights next week, right? We have Chidi and Jaquani versus Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop, my man. Oh, that's going to be a fun fight. Bill Algeo, Mr. Perfecto versus Touchy Feely, Andre Feely. Let's see who else we got. Rodrigo Nascimento, Tanner Boser. Anthony Hernandez versus Marc-Andre Barriol. So you got Fluffy versus the Power Bar. A couple good ones, man. Trevin Giles, Louis Koshy, Aspen Ladd, Sarah McMahon, Denise Gomez versus Loma Luke Boone. Brother, we got some good ones. Maria Agapova versus Jillian Robertson. Come on, my man. Fun fights, dog, overall. So I'm hyped up. I hope you hyped up, my man, and we're going to get it. Now, let me just ask you this last question right here, my man. What do you think, man? Let's do an early prediction because I want to test how spicy you feeling today, my man. 3 months from now, what do our scores read? I know we can't do some math, but if there is a margin of victory on either side, what do you anticipate that margin of victory to be? You think it's going to be close the whole year like this? It has been literally all year long. You either been kicking my ass or we've been even. So what do you think?
I think it's going to be close, man. I have a feeling this one's going to be coming down to the wire, battling back and forth the entire time. If I had to guess in a margin of victory, whoever wins the year, I think it's going to be by 4. What are you thinking?
Wow.
Over or under 4? What do you think?
Give me the under. Give me the under. I feel okay. So you spicy today. All right, brother. Yeah, let's get it, man. I think and imagine that. So we already know right now, folks, we're transparent people right here. We know this is a competition. One of us is going to be heartbroken at the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? But the point is if we could keep it this close all year long, both of us have vastly improved in what we are doing right there. So that goes to show, man, it's hard each and every week, but we do it for you guys because we want to give you the best picks to be able to make the most money. Now, once again, folks, another apology. Didn't make it last week, but hit us up. This upcoming Friday, we're knocking it out for the preview show. Corey Sandhagen versus Song Yadong, and that is what it is. AJ, any last words for the people?
Man, the biggest thing, you already see the links on the bottom. We're going to be breaking down the Corey Sandhagen fight, the Tanner Boser, the entire card. We're going to be breaking down on Twitch, but also hit up our social medias, man. BloodyWaterPodcast.com, the home, the hub, your favorite fighters, favorite fight show. You know we're going to be doing big things for this next card this week, man. So tune us in. Let us know you're there supporting. It's going to be a fun one, man. We're going to try to make everybody some money, which is always much appreciated these days. So that's the biggest thing. And we already know we love and appreciate all the support. So thank you.
Absolutely. And folks, I know when we say social media, we could be thinking, oh, Instagram, oh, Facebook. What? If there's one social media that I want you guys to support, it's the one you're probably watching this one on. It is youtube.com, right? So youtube.com/freethinkersclub or bloodywaterpodcast.com, and that will take you to everything, all the resources. But drop a like, subscribe, and share the show with your friends, because if you're a real fight fan, you'll do the real good thing, the right thing. All right, folks, that's it. That's all I got for you. Energy is crazy out here in New York. You know what time it is. AJ, great show as always. And until next time, folks, that's it for us. Peace.